the new users. Yeah, new users is the incoming flow to your business, and of course you need to have these new users for your business. Total users is the cumulative metric, which always grows. It shows the number of users in the base to the separate moment. When you want to acquire some new users, you need to spend some money, and the installs cost is the money amount that you spend to acquire the new users. Then you calculate the ROI, return on investment. Calculate as gross revenue divided by the install costs. Well, I do not like the metrics called ROI because it's very abstract. I prefer the metric ROI for 7 days, ROI for 14 days, for 30 days, for 60 days, and so on. Because in most of the businesses based on a long-term retention, and people do not bring all their money in the first day. They bring it. They can pay in a month, in a year, on something else. So that's why you need to use the ROI for some separate periods, for some different periods of time. And the CPI, or CPI is in the mobile. In web, it's usually called the CPA, cost per acquisition, or the cost per install in the mobile. Well, what do you need to check for these metrics? What do you need to check for the user acquisition? Well, first of all, for the healthy projects, new users should grow. There should be growing trend for the new users. Why? Well, because if the project is healthy, if everything is good with the project, it means that the user base is growing, and it means that revenue is growing. And of course, more people invite more their friends. And the viral effect working harder if the project is growing. And again, if the project is growing, the revenue is growing, and the marketing budget is also growing. So that's why both viral and paid factors here shall work. So that's why the new users should grow for the healthy projects. The same principle, it's about the same, that the inflow should be higher than the outflow for the users, for your project. Lifetime value should be higher than cost per install. Lifetime value is a very interesting metric because nobody knows what is it. It's very abstract. It's like the spherical cone in a vacuum. But you need to forecast it. You need to know how to forecast this metric. I have a special webinar about it, and if you want to see this webinar, please find me in the internet, and I will send you the link to this webinar. I describe some methods how to forecast the lifetime value. But anyway, you need to know how much money will user bring to you for the whole lifetime. It's a very interesting issue. Maybe it's the most interesting issue in the whole web analytics. Your traffic should pay back. It means that your ROI should be higher than 100%. But again, to forecast your ROI, you need to forecast the lifetime value of your users. And the principle, which is really important, don't forget to check the quality of traffic sources. It's a very usual situation that the new company have some money, some acquisition budget, and they spend it for the new users, and they're happy to see the new users in the project. But they forget that they need to check all the traffic sources. How do they work? How effective are them, and so on? Because in traffic sources, in paid traffic, there could be the fraudulent traffic, there could be the motivated traffic, and you need to find it somehow. You need to know the methods how to find it. You need to see the distribution of the traffic. So that's why you need to check the quality of traffic sources. How to check the quality of traffic sources? My recommendation, if you compare two different traffic sources with each other, use the relative metrics, such as average revenue per user, again, return on investment, and retention. And don't forget to bring all the data to one date. What does it mean? imagine that one campaign started in August and the second campaign started in September. So it's wrong to compare them in October, for example. Yeah, you need to bring them to one date and to calculate the relative metrics for these campaigns from the one date, from the 0 point. And of course, you need to use the maximum detalization for the user acquisition analysis. You can analyze your traffic by country, by site, by device, by everything, because there you can find the bottlenecks. It's one of the important ways how to find the bottlenecks. And now I'd like to show the dev-to-dev service. Go to the demo. Let's select the demo game, for example, the Magic Mountain. There is a section called third-party attribution. Yeah, here you can find the comparison of different traffic sources. Let's select the metrics that I prefer. I do not like the absolute metrics because they are senseless if we compare the different traffic sources. We will use the metrics such as retention and ROI for 7 days, for 14 days, 30, and 60 days. Also, we can select, for example, number of users which reached level 1 in your game, level 5, and so on. Yeah, here you can see the comparison of different traffic campaigns. I think we can exclude the ROI for 16 days because there is not enough data for 60 days, like this. And now, as I said, you need to use the maximum detalization for your traffic. So that's why let's add some categories. For example, the campaign and for example, by country. Yeah, here is the way how can we compare the traffic with each other. We use the relative metrics and we use the maximum detalization to find the optimal ways, optimal terms for your traffic.